Welcome back to the Between the Hashes podcast here on the 515 Podcast Network. I'm Brock Bierman alongside, as always, Dawson Livingston and Braden Binkin. That's how you pronounce your name, right? I think I've only pronounced your last name like 2 or 3 times in my entire life, and I always ask.
It's only ever the Brock and Braden specials where you have to say my name, but unfortunately Dawson's voice is a little bit chopped right now. So
Yeah,
we're
trying to
making do
use
with
him.
what we got.
Trying to use him as little as possible in terms of like trying to save his voice, because I think we're
Bring
doing
me out of the bullpen.
We're doing a double recording here tonight. This one is going to be more just about the overall landscape of the NFL. Headlines that have happened today. We're recording on a Monday, also known as, January 5th, also known as Black Monday, where a bunch of coaches get fired, roster turnover, or just the overall offseason for over half the league truly begins. And we got a lot of teams to talk about with that, as well as we can recap a bunch of games that happened this past weekend. Some key ones, a very intense finish really to the regular season as a whole for the NFL. When you look at what happened in the last game between the Steelers and the Ravens, we'll make sure to touch on that as well. But boys, we've made it. It's officially postseason play here in the NFL. Only one of us here, though, has a true rooting interest in terms of like team affiliation. So we'll start off with let's start off with Dawson just to get an overall just check in on how he's doing.
No team affiliation, dude. I am Panthers fan 101, dude.
This is true. This is lore.
I've been on the Panthers bandwagon for 3 years now. Ever since Bryce Young got drafted, when I picked him to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, I've been on the Panthers hype train, and now we're here.
I'm shocked Carolina never sent you playoff tickets. Like it's kind of sad.
And you know what's funny is I wanted to invest in the bit even more. I wanted to get a jersey, and then I realized how much jerseys are. I'm like, I'm not invested in the bit that much. I'm not dropping $150 on a Tedero McMillan or a Bryce Young jersey.
I'll make you a deal. If the Panthers go on an unbelievable run, and we're sitting here Pro Bowl week talking about the Panthers playing in the Super Bowl, dude, I will buy you. You can choose whatever player. I will buy you the jersey with the Super Bowl patch, so you can remember.
You know what, Brock? We can go 50-50.
Yes.
We can go 50-50. Gives Dawson whatever Panthers jersey he wants with the Super Bowl patch on it.
It has to be a current player, though. Has to be a current player.
Okay. I can.
So if for some reason they're a one-hit wonder and those players are out in a year or out of the league in 3 years, you will have the funniest jersey, but with a legit.
He's about to Google like the Panthers long snapper. That's
you best believe, dude. I'm pulling it up right now.
Are there any Hawks on the Panthers?
I think Josie Jewell was on the Panthers for like half a second.
I think he was. No, he wasn't drafted there. He was drafted to the Broncos. He was on there for like a season.
Yeah.
I don't know where he's at now, though.
He is no longer there. Yeah. Oh, I'm getting a Mike White jersey. He's on their practice squad. Oh, y'all are cooked.
No, I think there is an Iowa player. Isn't like what? They drafted somebody, didn't they? I don't think Yaya Black got drafted by the Panthers. No, he got drafted by the Steelers.
You're thinking of Y.A. Black.
Yeah.
Or D tackle, but no, it doesn't look like they have anyone from the Hawks, but
wait.
No, put it this way. I hope I have to make that decision of what player to choose from. Put it that way. I hope I have that issue in 2 weeks.
Okay. But I feel really, really dumb because I am just now realizing that Y.A. Black's name is pronounced Y.A. Black, not Yaya.
Y.A.?
Yeah, that's how you say his name.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought it was Yaya.
I've only had to say it like Black 3 times. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's something.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll add that to the Rolodex.
Yeah, but the more you know.
So
for the 2 more times in my life, I'll have to ever say Y.A. Black.
Yeah, Y.A. Black.
What? Hey, if the Panthers go on this unbelievable run, we will be sitting here Super Bowl week, hopefully, when we're recording, and Dawson has a J.J. Jansen, the long snapper for the Panthers.
Oh my, J.J. Jansen. I think
jersey.
This is about to be the dumbest stat I could possibly think of about J.J. Jansen. I think he's the highest rated long snapper in Madden. I'm pretty sure he is.
The fact that you knew, I didn't even know who he was. I just
J.J. Jansen or the Vikings one?
That's
Andrew DePaula, I think it is.
He's not James Winchester, the Chiefs long snapper, but he's close.
He's not.
But anyways, so it's official. We have a recording of it that if the Panthers make the Super Bowl, Braden and I will pitch in to get you a official.
Andrew DePaula is the highest rated long snapper. J.J. Jansen is 5th.
That's crazy. That's crazy that you guys even know that. Like I don't know long snappers.
I don't even play. I think I bought like the beta. I got into the beta or like a free trial or something. I have not touched Madden this year otherwise. I just know that this is the first year that long snappers have had actual ratings and not just been 30 overall tight ends.
Jeez.
But
if Andy Dalton's my choice, by the way.
We are 6 minutes and 40 seconds in, and we're pulling out Andrew.
You bet your sweet Pippy. I'm picking an Andy Dalton jersey.
You bet your sweet.
Oh, that's fire! The red rifle.
Great. I'm too bad Adam Thielen's not on the roster anymore.
No, the Steelers make the Super Bowl. I might give me a Steelers Adam Thielen. But
oh my gosh,
you gotta like a Bryson Tremaine jersey, dude.
Yeah,
we're definitely gonna be hitting on the Steelers at some point in this one. Hunter Renfrow, we could have a Hunter Renfrow jersey. But hopefully we can actually like keep this going though for a week.
I know, keep the bit going.
Be like, are we really about to buy a Super Bowl patch?
If nothing else, just so we can name the most obscure Panthers players ever.
Yes.
The fact that Chuba Hubbard is still in Carolina. Like I honestly, and this is the last thing I'll mention. Like I remember when McCaffrey first got hurt, like one of his first 2 years in the league for Hubbard, and like he was like actually playing really good. And now it's how many years has he even been here? 5 years later, and he's still kind of just contributing one way or another. It kind of blows my mind. It's one of those where it's like, how did we get here?
He's always good for a good 600 yards.
Yeah. But Braden, how are you doing? Getting back to kind of just checking in on everybody. I know that, and we can touch on it a little bit. The 49ers kind of dropped the ball this past weekend in attempts.
There's no kind of, buddy. We did.
Yeah,
we just straight up did, man.
Yeah, they dropped the ball. Literally, if you can remember a couple of plays. Yeah.
How could I forget? How could I forget watching?
And because of that, they did not secure the 1 seed, and instead are traveling to Philadelphia for a matchup with the
We
Eagles.
are on the 6th seed now. We went from the 1 seed to maybe could have get the 5 seed if the Cardinals did the funny, and then expecting the Cardinals to win a football game was never going to end well.
They did flirt with it though for a little.
It got kind of funny there for a second.
I'd rather play the Eagles right now than the frisky Panthers. Just saying. Hot take.
You know what? Revenge will be just I don't know. Whoever the Eagles' best pass rusher is right now, maybe don't put our backup tight end on him, and we'll be all right. I think.
Yeah. I mean,
but. Yeah, going back to that game, I guess. Do we want to talk about that now? Do we want to?
Yeah, let's hit on really probably the second biggest game of the weekend in terms of. I guess you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. In terms of overall impact of the structure of the playoffs, the other one was the Sunday night game that was a just unbelievable finish between the Ravens and Steelers, which. Who would have thought that they would have had an unbelievable finish involving an offensive touchdown from the Steelers? But the other hand, the Seahawks did end up winning in San Francisco, or I guess Santa Clara, technically. 13-3 was the final of that one. And the thing about it for me, and I'll let Braden probably give a bigger in-depth analysis on this, is not only did the offense for the 49ers look really bad, honestly. The defense played okay in terms of the pass game, but the rushing attack for the Seahawks is what just brutalized the 49ers in terms of keeping the ball away from the 49ers offense, which, I mean, they only put up 3 points. You didn't have to worry about that as much. But the Seahawks just played an overall really good game that got the job done. They only put up 13 points, so maybe looking at the scoreboard, it doesn't look like they dominated as much. But like 13-3, it honestly feels more like a 24-3 game in terms of how it felt watching it as a viewer of the Seahawks and 49ers.
Yeah, no, it felt like a lot worse than 13-3. I will definitely agree with you on that. Yeah, I mean, you summarized it perfectly. The defense didn't play terrible in the pass game, which is kind of where it feels like the Niners have struggled all year, especially with our good players not playing right now. I really expected JSN to have like 1 million receiving yards, and honestly, we bottled him up pretty well. And usually when you can bottle him up, you bottle up the Seahawks, but the Niners found a way to let both Seattle running backs just kill us. Which, again, it's the other. We can't really stop the run either without Nick Bosa. We're putting they pretty much have me out there at D tackle trying to stop the run. It's not working very well.
I think he'd be a good NFL defensive lineman.
You know what? I could fill up a run gap at least. Like, if nothing else, I could get in the way. But no, I mean, I'll give the defense a little bit of credit because, yeah, holding the Seattle's offense to 13 points when they've been dominant pretty much all year that's a good testament to at least being able to get stops this game. Or maybe just the fact that Sam Darnold, whenever the lights are bright, turns back into the pumpkin instead of the carriage that he was all year anyways. Mm-hmm. But that's a problem for, I guess, not next week, but the week after. But what happened to the offense? We went from like a historical run in the month of December. I think we punted like twice the whole month. And then as soon as January hit, it's just, we're back to just terrible. Like what, how did that happen? Christian McCaffrey, one of, if not, maybe not, I don't know if I'll give him V, but at least top 3 receiving backs in the history of the NFL. The pass literally hit him in the hands on a drive, desperately trying to come back into this game. Could not get the offense going all game. Finally are getting a rhythm. We are in the red zone, 5 yards away from the end zone. Ball hits him in the hands. He tips it up into the defender's hands. Ball game.
That was the exact moment when I think one person that was watching out of the 3, I watched it with 2 other people. One of them left after that play. She's like, it's over.
That's when I turned my TV off, to be fair. Like, if Christian McCaffrey can't catch a football, he's been the entire offense really this whole stretch. He's been the one guy that can actually stay healthy. And if he can't get it going, then it's just not happening. I mean, Pearsall, it seems like he kind of gets a lot of a pass for year one. Mm-hmm. But year 2, it feels like he stubs his toe. He's out for the game. Like,
sounds like he just aggravated something too last week. So who knows if he's even playing this week.
Yeah, he can't stay on the field. Brandon Ayuk is I don't know where he is.
He's being AB.
I guess. I mean, like, we had Kittle for a decent bit. He didn't really do much this game.
They had one good play where they found him for like 15, 20-ish yards. And I was like, okay, that's the play that the offense needed to get going. And then that was it. I think that was the same drive, though, where they went all the way down the field and it went through McCaffrey's hands for an interception. But it was like, this offense could not catch a break. Like, they'd have one, maybe a decent gain, and then, like, that was it.
Yeah, and I don't want to say all this bad about the Niners offense just to discredit the Seattle defense. Their defense has been really good all year, and it was good again today. And that's a lot of the reason why the offense couldn't get it going. It's just really disappointing to see the Niners football that I've been seeing this month has been, we need the offense to score as many points as possible because the defense is not getting stops. And then the one time the defense gets stops, the offense just sputters. It is incredibly frustrating to watch that happen.
Your categories.
The categories.
Yeah. And You mentioned the defense for the Seahawks. They've been playing unbelievable, and just as a whole, this whole team has been coached really, really well. And if I was like a legit voter for like awards this year, I'd have a hard time like picking which coach deserves Coach of the Year the most, because a lot of first-year coaches had some amazing success, and one of them is Mike McDonald with the Seattle Seahawks. How would you grade his first regular season as a head coach? I know the record first.
Is this his first year? I thought this is his second year.
Is it his second year? Oh, sorry, I blanked. Pete Carroll was fired 2 years ago. So my mistake. But still, you got him, and then also the coaches that for New England, Jacksonville. I'm trying to think. I think there was one other team that had a new coach. Chicago, Ben Johnson, yeah.
That's a pretty big one.
Yeah. See, Dawson, this is why you host. I can't think of things while we're recording live. But a lot of great first-year performances from head coaches. And then also, Mike McDonald in his second year, when, I'm not going to lie, I didn't think the Seahawks were worth even looking at heading into the season. I thought it was the Rams, 49ers, and then the Seahawks.
We'd see, I guess.
Yeah. And I think you guys were, at least one of you, were a little higher on the Seahawks for sure heading into the season. And not only that, they have the 1 seed. And so how big of a threat do you think they are heading into this postseason?
A lot of the question with Sam Darnold, and I mentioned this a bit in my overview of the game, is how is Sam Darnold going to fare when the game actually matters? And pretty much his entire career, the answer has been not good. So it is hard to, although he has had a pretty decent regular season so far, it is hard to take that history away and be like, okay, well, this is the year he finally figures it out. Because every time with every other situation, we've been, oh, they're going to figure it out. They never figure it out. It's the same thing over and over again. So could they win a playoff game? They have the talent for it. Will they? Depends on if Sam Darnold decides to play like regular season Sam Darnold or postseason Sam Darnold.
Dawson, you've been at least one of the more critical of Sam Darnold in the last year or so. How would you assess his time here in Seattle so far? Do you think he may have actually figured it out? Do you think he can be a key part to a Super Bowl run for the Seahawks? I know he's going to have to be, obviously, because he's the quarterback, but like, do you realistically see that happening as the one that always says pumpkin ball is coming for Sam Darnold?
Pumpkin mode.
Sorry.
Pumpkin ball. And why did I get deemed the Sam Darnold hater? Is that just my hat? I'm wearing it, dude. I don't care.
Good this for the guy, Panthers, so naturally you have to hate him.
Yeah, this guy, he's done good all year. This is the same story as last year to me with Minnesota. Like, he was a stud the entire season for Minnesota. And then week 18 against Detroit, pumpkin mode came out. And then the wild card game against the Rams, pumpkin mode came out. It just feels like a matter of time. He got lucky that the San Francisco offense was only able to put up 3. And granted, Braden said their defense for Seattle is pretty legit. That's not the part that's concerning for Seahawks fans, because it looks like the way the playoffs are lining up, you would potentially play either a rematch of the Rams again in Seattle or the Niners, assuming Green Bay doesn't pull off the crazy upset against Chicago. But I like the Rams' chances in that game against Seattle. I'm not gonna, even with the Rams dropping one against the Falcons last week and then obviously losing to Seattle the week prior. But Sam, he's had a great year, don't get me wrong, and I think we should recognize that. But at the same time, am I truly bought in to Seattle and Sam Darnold going to the Super Bowl? I know they're the favorites right now, which is crazy to talk about. But I just, there's something I'm not seeing with the Seahawks team. I know they're 14-3, but there's just something. The eye test, it's not passing the eye test for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys agree. But.
Hey, I will say he's been playing really, really good, or not really, really good. He's been playing good enough football the last couple of years for the Vikings and now the Seahawks. And I understand the hesitancy to not be like, oh yeah, he's legit this year, because I mean it is Sam Darnold, by the way, but man, this team is just so well put together and so well coached that like I see why people think that they're the favorites heading into this run that they potentially could have in the NFL playoffs.
Yeah.
Before we transition here, because really, I mean, Buccaneers did beat the Panthers in terms of like other like playoff impacting games, but that didn't really matter because the Falcons ended up beating the Saints, which the Saints needed to win, which the game was close. It was close, but the Saints ended up blowing that one. So the Panthers will be going to the playoffs, which more on them either in this episode or later in a future episode this week here on the Between the Hashes podcast on the 515 Podcast Network. But real quick, I have a quick, and I'm assuming at least one of you, if not both of you, have seen this. Can you tell me the correlation between what has happened with the last few popes being announced, the last two or three popes being announced, and the NFC representation in the Super Bowl?
Is it the Panthers going to the Super Bowl?
It
is
the
not the
Bears.
Panthers.
It's the Bears.
Is it the Bears?
It's the Seahawks.
It's ooh.
Oh, I know. I think I saw like every time the Seahawks are the 1 seed, they usually end up making it to the Super Bowl.
I think it was 2005. They made it, lost. 2013, they won, and then this year they're the 1 seed heading into the playoffs.
Convenient to leave out Russell Wilson's pick to Malcolm Butler in 2014.
Yeah, there wasn't a Pope.
Yeah.
Like there was no the Pope from 2013 was still there, but
yeah.
He actually realized he forgot to turn his oven on and wherever he was from before, so he had to get re-sworn in 2014.
He's like, all right,
left the oven on for an entire year.
Pause for a moment, guys.
My bad.
But yeah, it was just a random stat that I saw, and I was like, that is kind of crazy that's kind of happened, and we'll see if somehow that happens again. Which now here's a great transition, because apparently some end zone in Pittsburgh was doused in holy water before the game last night between the Steelers and the Ravens. Also happened to be the end zone where the Baltimore Ravens were kicking towards in hopes of going to the playoffs. All they needed to do was make it. All they had to do was make a kick. But I think it's been said that Pittsburgh might be one of the hardest places to kick a field goal as an opposing team, which, I mean, it has nothing to do with elevation. I don't think it's not like they're the windiest city. Like there's literally another NFL team that plays in the windy city. I think it has to just do with the overall environment, as well as, the fact you have all the yellow, terrible towels being waved around right by a yellow field goal post. But long story short, the Steelers pull off one of the more entertaining finishes to a regular season the NFL has ever seen, winning it by 2 to keep Mike Tomlin's above 500 career record every season going.
I think he was 9. They were 9-7 before this game, so I think they did have a game to give.
Yeah,
they would have been 9-8 if they lost, but still,
which is just unbelievable.
This man can't get it. He can't keep getting away with this, dude. This is crazy.
But it also drops the Ravens out of the playoffs. That's two AFC teams this year who were heavy Super Bowl favorites that won't be making an appearance in the NFL playoffs this season.
I know, dude. Ravens and the Raiders, dude. I know.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Bengals.
that team too.
This will be the last time I ever put a team with a loss in my top 5 in week 1. I I kept the Ravens in my top 5 to start the year like way too long.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, oh, they have the talent. Surely they can win the games.
The crazy thing about it is like early on in the game, you had Derrick Henry breaking off for like a 41 yard run. And it's like, oh, they realize, obviously they do, but like they realize how big of a game this is. They have to do literally everything. And King Henry's going to show up. He does end up with 126 rushing yards, 0 touchdowns though. The crazy thing about this is Aaron Rodgers didn't necessarily play unbelievable. He had 293 yards, but only a touchdown. But the one touchdown came in at one of the most clutch moments that you could have for a Pittsburgh Steelers offense in the past decade, to Calvin Austin for the touchdown to go up. They missed the PAT, and it's like, okay, you get a stop, you win. The Ravens drive down the field, and you're like, oh, yeah, it looks like the Ravens are going to go to the playoffs. I can't remember. Do you guys remember how long of a kick it was?
44.
So 44-yarder.
I think it was 44 yards
for Tyler Loop, the replacement for Justin Tucker for many reasons this season, and just missed. And it like instantly you knew that it wasn't going in.
Can I just say, if it is like I think people have figured out the life hack to make kickers miss field goals. If it is like the last play of the game in a clutch win or go home sort of a game, if the opposing team is trying to kick the field goal, all you have to do is just hold up a John 3:16 sign within the uprights, and that sucker is not going in. This one, Jaden Fielding in the CFP last year, like last week, and what was it, Michigan to beat Georgia in 2022, was it?
No, that you're thinking Ohio State to beat Georgia. It's the same kicker. It's the same exact Ohio State kicker.
Oh my Lord.
It's the same kicker.
There's like 5 or 6 cases where somebody will hold a John 3:16 sign.
Yes.
Within the uprights, and that sucker shanks.
It's the same
Absolutely
kicker.
shanks.
That's rough. But what a finish really to the regular season. I don't know if there's been a more exciting finish to a NFL regular season in terms of the last game of the regular season, at least in recent memory. I mean, I think the one may be didn't the Raiders and Chargers play in an OT game where they tied
the Derek Carr timeout?
Yeah,
where
they almost
tied. They both went to the playoffs.
Yeah,
but Derek Carr called the timeout with like 2 seconds left in the overtime.
Can I say something? I don't know. Were you guys obviously watching the broadcast last night? And Mike Tirico, before Tyler Loop is like getting ready to kick this dude, he was like giving this monologue. It's like, Ravens had to move on from Tucker, obviously, due to off the field stuff.
He's doing what most broadcasters do.
They had their pick of the litter of all the kickers across the country in the NFL draft.
This guy.
And they went with Tyler Loop because they believe he could step up in these moments. And then 5 seconds later, he pushes the kick to the right. I thought that was like, dude, you just hyped up this man so much just for him to miss the field goal, not even being close.
I saw a tweet this morning that got retweeted from like June or whatever of this year of a Ravens fan saying, please, for the love of God, do not put a rookie kicker in a situation to win the game against the Steelers with the season on the line, because he will miss it. Like, how do you just know that? That is somebody who has watched way too much Tomlin magic and just knows this type of stuff just happens. Insane.
Jeez. This is just a crazy game, and I'm not gonna lie. So we'll get to the coaching moves that have happened so far today and yesterday, but for those that don't know, to kind of get ahead of the curve, I was mass producing a lot of ones that we probably won't be talking on this podcast, because at least up until now, they haven't been announced that they're going to be moving on or getting fired, whatever it may be. And I mean, if you're not doing it today. I doubt it's going to happen tomorrow. And I think most of them actually have announced, like Cincinnati announced that they're bringing back their staff next year. But I threw around the idea of actually making one for Harbaugh with the Ravens. And I held off until I didn't end up making one. But after this game, I think Dawson was doing it more as a joke, but he did say you might want to get that Harbaugh graphic ready. But I really think there might need to be. No, that's the thing. I think we've had the conversation before.
Several a time.
I've been on record saying it. I think Harbaugh might be the Doc Rivers of the NFL.
I think we've had this conversation no less than like 7 times this season.
And we're the only ones talking about it, though.
I feel like there's a lot of
You know who we need to have talk about this because it'll hit close to home. We need to have Hunter talk about Harbaugh because Hunter has to deal with Glenn Rivers coaching his basketball team. Hunter would be able to understand and give us the rundown.
We might have to ask him about that because you could make an argument though that even like Mike Tomlin has a little bit of a similarity to kind of Doc Rivers where he like was really good starting out and then kind of just plateaued and became just like, again, the above 500 record every season thing is impressive no matter who you are if you coach this long. But like I think even last week we were kind of talking like he won't get fired, but like it seems like they've kind of hit their peak a while ago with this organization and Tomlin. And here we are a week later talking about the team that Tomlin just beat to go to the playoffs on what's next for them. And you know what? I'll open that. Like, I guess it doesn't even need to be about Harbaugh specifically. What is next for this Baltimore Ravens team that seems like they keep adding and trying to add bigger stars every time? I mean, they added Henry after a while. They've, made some moves to hopefully get some better receivers. I mean, Zay Flowers had 4 receptions for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns last night. But, like, what is next for the Ravens? And, by the way, before anyone says anything, anyone that does say that Lamar Jackson is the reason that the Ravens keep choking, you really need to watch the Ravens' seasons ending over his tenure. Yes, he's been a factor at times, but there have been a lot of key plays that have went other ways because of his teammates.
Yeah, I mean, to your last point there, has he helped the situation much? Who's to say? Has he been the reason? No. Has not been the reason. As far as what's next, dude, they're kind of just stuck, man. Like, you have Lamar, you have Derrick Henry, you have Mark Andrews, you have the 5 games a year Zay Flowers can be trusted. And whatever's left of the defense, I guess. I mean, I could see either way. I don't think they blow it up necessarily.
Yeah.
But I do think they kind of give it like a all right. Injuries kind of sucked. Lamar had to be sidelined for a while. This is it. Like, give us one more run, 100%. Do what we can to possibly make another push. And if next year doesn't work out, you got to start fire sailing. Harbaugh's got to go. If Henry hasn't retired by now, see what you can get for him. See what you can get for anybody that is not going to be on a timeline for like 3 to 4 to 5 years in the future, because it's just over.
Yeah. What's so weird is like, so obviously the previous 2 games they didn't have Lamar, and they went 2-0 to force this scenario of Week 18 with the season on the line.
Don't start this narrative.
No. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not.
Okay.
This is more of a Harbaugh thing than it is a Lamar thing. They went 2-0 with Huntley, with Snoop Huntley at the helm. Why is the coaching so much more different? Why are they so like? I know Lamar's a way better passer than Huntley, but like they went away from the run in the second half entirely. Derrick Henry had like 117 rushing yards in the first half. He had like 9 in the second half on 5 carries. Granted, we don't know, like, obviously, had they given Henry the same amount or just as similar carries in the first half if he would have had another 120 yards. But it's not impossible. We saw what he did against Green Bay a week and a half ago now. So that was kind of confusing. I think it comes down to just Baltimore having no pass catching options outside of Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers was awesome this year. It's probably the best Ravens wide receiver season since, oh God.
Probably Steve Smith.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost 10 years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
he had 1,200 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns on 86 receptions. Played all 17 games, was awesome. How many yards do you think the next closest player is? Granted, Baltimore's not a super pass-happy offense, but who do you what yardage total do you think is second?
Probably Bateman with like 500.
450.
It's Mark Andrews with 420. Rashad Bateman, who Braden just said, only had 220 yards the entire season.
Just curious, do you have the entire receiving thing pulled
Yep.
up? What did I know it's not more than probably 150. What did Kohler ended up with?
142.
Okay.
What did Nuke end up with? Was he like
He was the third leading receiver, funny enough, at 330 yards.
I mean, what, 34-year-old DeAndre Hopkins being your third receiving option?
Mark Andrews being 31 or 30 being your second receiving option isn't fantastic either. And I know Likely was hurt for a lot of the season to start, but like, what are we doing here? Like all these stats like are just hilarious to look at.
Ugh.
If you had to buy stock in one of these AFC North teams to make a Super Bowl in the next 5 years, who are you putting your money in?
Not one. Not one.
I'm
saying no.
No, you're just. I won't watch football.
I'm grabbing the money and I'm putting it. I'm just stashing it in my wallet. I'm not putting money on it.
He's putting it on Panthers to win the Super Bowl this year.
Honestly, that's a better bet.
Dawson,
I think that is a safer bet to put the money on the Panthers to win the Super Bowl this year than anybody in the AFC North to win the Super Bowl in the next 5.
Dawson, you're a sports investor.
Confident on that.
Who would you, if you had to put money down on someone to make the Super Bowl from the AFC North in the next 5 years?
So Baltimore just has their own issues, which makes it really tough. But they have Lamar, which makes it like appealing. Cincinnati, I will never trust a Cincinnati team as long as Zach Taylor is still at the helm.
Which he will be.
Not, and he will be this year. So I will not be having any faith in them to do something. Pittsburgh, yeah, you can win 9 games every year, but when are you really going to make a postseason push?
And
is it crazy to say Cleveland? Is that like an absurd take?
Honestly, no.
I mean, you have to.
One of, if not the best defensive player of all time, a quarterback that at least looks like it's kind of promising. You have draft picks to bolster up the receiving targets. Honestly, I don't hate it.
If Sanders could literally be, he literally could still be the 4th best player in his own division. And I still think that there's a way that this Browns team could actually build something, or at least compete for their division title. I know that's not the question of like who would make the Super Bowl, but really with this division at this point, winning the division title is almost like winning the Super Bowl in its own.
All jokes aside, though, it still would be Baltimore. Like, I just can't trust Pittsburgh or Cincinnati. But like, man, I don't know.
On paper, sure, but like, how many times have we sang this song before, man? We just can't trust that team to do anything in the playoffs.
Yep,
just can't do it.
Can't even trust them to make it anymore.
Here's the Dawson Nito stat of the day. What teams there are? Let me count. 4 teams. Actually, there's only 2 teams with fewer sacks this season in the NFL than the Baltimore Ravens. There's 2 that are tied with the Ravens, but there's 2 teams with fewer. Name those 2 teams.
The Niners are
one team did make the playoffs. Braden is right. The Niners is one of them.
Cardinals.
Nope. Cardinals are tied. They're tied with them. So I guess kind of. It's half a point. But
the Jets?
It is the Jets.
They were like really bad. Yeah, their defense just sucked.
Which, bottom 5 in the NFL.
Head coach with bottom 2 sack total and 0 interceptions is something.
Bottom 5 in the NFL in sacks goes by.
Wait. I want to guess. Give me 5 guesses, And I'm just see how many. Okay. So the 49ers was one of them.
Yep.
Okay. And the rest of them didn't make the playoffs.
No, one other team did make the playoffs out of this bottom 5.
Well, we know 4, right? Because we know Jets, we know Niners, we know Ravens, we know Cardinals.
Yep.
So we just need
Who is that?
Who's the one that made the playoffs?
And we know that they made the playoffs.
They made the playoffs.
It's got to be the Panthers.
It's the Panthers.
It's the Panthers. Yes.
Wow.
Okay. It is the Panthers.
I thought they had like a lot better defense this year. I mean, they did, but
they forced a lot of interceptions. They forced 15 interceptions this year. They just couldn't get after the quarterback. But all this to say, it's just a structural issue with Baltimore too. Like their defense is as responsible for their failures as their offense is. Like we could say that Lamar doesn't have enough weapons, and we could say that Harbaugh is just not a great coach anymore. But that defense still is just not performed, considering how many studs they have on that side of the ball. And Kyle Hamilton, Kyle Van Noy, Roquan Smith. I mean, they have so many studs on that side of the ball. And for them to like not even be remotely close to top of the league in sacks is wild.
The past couple years have truly proven how important coordinators are. Because we saw Ben Johnson leave. That Detroit offense plummeted significantly. We saw Mike McDonald leave for Seattle, and the Ravens defense has looked flat out terrible since then.
This is great that you're mentioning this because it's going to make the conversations about who's going to be a head coaching candidate go so well tonight, because I think you could pair up a defensive coordinator in the NFL right now with a former head coach who could be an offensive, who just got fired this year, and put him as an offensive coordinator, and I think you'd have a really good setup. But we'll get to that here in a second. But by the way, the Panthers did lose to the Cardinals this year. That's like probably the only victory that mattered in terms of like quality of win, because the other two were the Raiders and the Saints. So
listen, anything the Cardinals did good this year is immediately wiped out of the fact that you lost to the Titans in the way that you lost to the Titans.
Yeah.
Or how about like the other ways we lost games too? Because like it wasn't a one game thing.
There was never like a all right. The Cardinals just straight up. Oh, there were a couple that the Cardinals just straight up lost. More of them than not was just like a cartoon character steps on a rake.
When the Cardinals went for it on like 4th and 1 at like around the 40 or 35-yard line in scoring territory against the Packers with like 3 minutes left, and they tried a QB. I think they tried a tush push with Jacoby Brissett, and like I think he lost a yard. If not, he also fumbled the ball. I was like, yeah, I know what Jordan Love's about to do to my football team. But yeah, any final thoughts on this game between the Steelers and the Ravens? I mean, did you guys see anything from the Steelers that makes you think that maybe they might be able to compete this wild card weekend, or do you think it's
no?
That's the thing is like,
well,
they're another team that like
they play the 5 seed in the AFC. Would that be
the Chargers?
The Chargers. Okay, so that's not like the craziest opponent.
I think out of all the teams that they would have pulled, I think the Chargers.
Oh no! Excuse me, they're playing the Texans. They're playing the Texans.
The Texans.
Chargers play the Patriots.
But
on me,
I think my comment almost still stands because, like, I feel like out of all the polls that you could have gotten, the Bills or the Chargers, I think the Texans might be the best one because you don't know what this Texans offense is going to show. Like, are they going to be able to throw it downfield to one of their receivers, or are they going to struggle to put up points? Which, if it's a struggle to put up points game, like an old school low scoring affair between these two teams, one, the defensive plays are going to be unbelievable. But like, I almost wonder if just the head coaching experience, as well as just the veteran experience from the whole roster from Pittsburgh, might give them the edge in this game between the Texans.
If it's a matter of the two defenses just not letting anything happen offensively, I have a lot more faith in both the Texans defense to not allow points and the Texans offense to figure it out. Although the Texans running game has been a bit of a problem this year, Woody Marks has had his moments, but I don't even know if he's like fully healthy right now. What the situation with that is. But the Texans have guys that they can go to if they need points. The Steelers, like, If Aaron Rodgers isn't getting it going with DK Metcalf, is Jalen Warren really going to move the needle? Is
That's a good
Kenneth
point.
Gainwell going to win you the game?
Yeah. Who knows? I think it'll be an interesting matchup. I don't think either team is competing for a Super Bowl this year by any means, but we'll see what happens between those. Are there any other games or like headlines not coaching related that you guys wanted to hit on before we kind of transition to the big news today of coaches?
Shout out Myles Garrett, broke the sack record.
In 17 games.
Whatever that. I mean,
100 less snaps.
I'm kidding.
I was gonna say.
Did Burrow kind of just fall down to give it to him? Maybe, but you know what? He got
so did Brett Favre with Michael Strahan.
So did the guy that I'm pretty sure. So did the guy that fell down to give TJ Watt the record.
Yeah.
So that's kind of just what happens.
Now, anytime I think of that Brett Favre falling down for Strahan, it's the who held the record before Strahan? It was like a Jets DN, right?
Oh, like something that ends in like a toe or something.
Yeah.
Larry
have you seen that?
Is that?
Yeah. Have you seen that clip of him going back up to Favre?
Bitter man.
It's
bitter man.
Like, I want my sack back. I'm getting my sack
literally
back.
threatening Brett Favre. And
yeah.
I, by no means am a huge fan of Brett Favre, but like, good Lord, dude, it's just a sack, which I think I looked up his Wikipedia page one day, and you know what? I'm going to
being more known for being bitter that you lost the sack record is significantly more embarrassing than being known as the guy that just lost the sack record.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to say this. I think he got in trouble for using an antibiotic steroid. Anabolic, sorry.
Okay. I don't think they make antibiotic steroids.
Yeah, sorry.
That's a heck of a sign.
Is that all I need to do to get shredded? Just take some antibiotics?
Antibiotic.
Just pop some penicillin. You're going to be jacked in a week.
My brain is not working today, boys. I've been staring at.
You got to record a double, dude. You got to lock in.
I've been staring at a computer screen since like 8:30 this morning for work. So
you're the one that wanted to record a double. What are we talking about?
Well, we need to because I won't be here this. I leave on Friday, so I got to make sure I get these things edited and posted. Sorry, anabolic steroid. He in 1993. When did he do the sack record? Not that that 80s, matters.
In the Plummer era.
1984. Okay. Yeah. So, but like that was when he was caught. In the 80s, they probably didn't care. I mean, if you want to know what the Chicago Bulls were like,
sports weren't real in the 80s, dude.
That's what I'm saying. If you want to know what the sports was like, watch The Last Dance in the 80s.
No, if you want to know what sports were like in the 80s, look up a video of the Pittsburgh Pirates mascot. What he was doing in the 80s and the 70s, dude. You'll know what kind of sports were going on back then.
It was Lester Hayes, the Raiders DB. Look up what his gloves looked like every game.
Yes. Sports were not real.
That's what was going on in football in the 70s and 80s, dude. Nobody cared about like sportsmanship.
Yeah. Players were just coked out of their minds back then.
They had all those antibiotic steroids.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out Myles Garrett. I mean, God, if he was only on a good team. Whew.
Well, he could have been, but he decided to take a $41 million contract.
That is true. All right. Are you guys ready to kind of hit on some coaching news?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you want to do you want to do player of the week and power rankings?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
All right. Yeah, sure.
Might as well, and then we could focus all on.
Are we going to do the frisky meter, or was that?
We'll see.
Are you,
it's in the draft right now.
Are you Tory Terry?
That may just be a work in progress for future episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this is a trial run, but all right.
I knew this was going to happen.
Yep. This is mine. I sent a text to Dawson mid this game. It's like how psychotic would I be to put a kicker as my player of the week?
It's happened multiple times.
I was gonna say I did that last year.
Honestly, I either forgot about it or wasn't here for it. Mm-hmm. But I was watching Kaimi Fairbairn just win this game for the Texans. This guy's got to be player of the week. Considering the situation that it was in too, this was to lock in that 5 seed. I don't think they had a chance at the 3 seed, but if they lost this game, I think they would have been either the 7 seed or the 6 seed. This was a big game against a conference opponent. Shut up. Grown man. Anyway.
Youngest one on the call. Yeah.
That doesn't change anything. Anyways, to make my point, it takes a special kind of performance for me to make a kicker my player of the week, and he did that. Scored 20 points on his own, 6 for 6 kicking actual field goals, and then had 3 PATs to supplement. 51-yarder isn't exactly too crazy when you had Cam Little kicking we're doing the thing again, a 67-yard field goal to make it the second longest in NFL history to complement his 68-yarder for the record. But still, I hate you both. 6 for 6 is, trust me, a lot of teams in the league would greatly appreciate a kicker that just didn't miss kicks. Looking at you, Baltimore. But yeah, again, third time I'm saying this, takes an insane performance from a kicker to get player of the week, but he did that. So shout out to him.
You know what's better than 6 and 6? 7 and 7. But sorry.
I'm like 25, dude. Don't do this.
Speaking of a 25-year-old not giving up his career.
Dude, dog, this guy's 30.
I know he's 30.
He's like 31, man.
I know.
Yeah.
Those jerseys are sick, though.
Welcome back to the NFL news. Mitchell Trubisky. I was kind of just scrolling for player of the week choices, and I came across this stat line. I was like, you know what? Let's give him the nod. Shout out Josh Allen too for some reason playing literally one snap, because that makes you a starter, keeps your streak alive. Your consecutive game streak is as relevant.
Mikal Bridges streak.
It's as relevant as the Nebraska Cornhuskers sellout record in college football, where there's empty seats, but they go off of tickets sold, not off of how many people actually show up. But it's okay, fraud. You'll learn in the playoffs, because, I mean, you always learn, even though the Chiefs aren't going to be there. I don't know why I started going on a rant about Josh Allen.
That was a crazy stray.
Dude, Bill's just caught a stray, dude.
This is the vault.
This is my quarterback for the Bills, Mitchell Trubisky here, 264 yards, 4 touchdowns. Look at that passer rating. You would have, I mean, like, who would have guessed that he would have a passer rating like that in the NFL after what happened in Chicago?
Oh, because he played against the Jets.
Yeah,
but still,
a team that did not have an interception all season. That is up there with stats of like the Chiefs going an entire season not having a wide receiver catch a touchdown. That's up there.
Or the Cardinals have never had a coach stay longer than 6 years without being fired.
Yeah,
which we'll get into that too.
Yeah. All right, Braden, I kind of stole your mojo, but I have my player of the week for different reasons. Daniel Carlson, dude, thank you for giving Chiefs pick number 9 instead of number 11. Thanks for that 60-yard field goal for the win. I don't care. These last 4 weeks have sucked. All right, this is the only bright spot I had. But
4 weeks? Imagine an entire season, dude. No, shut up. Like, literally shut up.
Oh no, my NFL team lost football games. You weren't there in 2018. The Niners were in the trenches, dude.
You weren't there when I had to watch Colt McCoy, Clayton Tune, and Trace McSorley pick up the scraps of the Cardinals.
You liked watching Trace McSorley for the Cardinals. Don't even give me that pity.
I preferred Colt McCoy over Kyler Murray for a little bit.
My introduction to the NFL was the Niners making the Super Bowl, getting smoked, and then 2 years later, everybody was just gone. Literally the whole team.
Anywho, thank you, Daniel Carlson, for hitting the walk-off 60-yarder, because outside of that, there was nothing to write home about with Raiders Chiefs, other than Kelsey. I guess Kelsey broke 13,000 career yards, but
okay. Yeah. Last thing, or like one thing I want to ask you about the Chiefs. Do you think he's done? Maybe that's a longer podcast.
No, I got my answer. I have this theory. All right, I have this theory that Mahomes is his injury. He's going to come back quicker than expected. Probably week 5, week 6, about week 11. Travis is going to get a call. Said, "Hey, just need you for 10 games," and they're going to make a run.
You think he is retiring though?
Quote unquote, yes. And then I think,
So
Bro
he's
wants
Gronk.
to be Gronk so
He's
bad.
Gronk.
yeah,
God.
basically.
Why? Bro wishes he could be Gronk.
I'm pretty sure Gronk was
Bro's
younger
better
when
than
he
Gronk,
came
dude.
back
What?
for the Tampa Bay Super Bowl than Kelsey is right now. Like by multiple years.
Gronk's the GOAT. Don't.
Don't be dissing Travis, dude. Travis ain't no bum either. I would argue
Never
Travis
forget
is the greatest.
Never
tight end of
forget
all
when the
time.
Patriots wanted to trade away Gronk to the Jets, and they
He's
said,
like,
he
"You
said,
can't
"Screw
do
you,
that.
I'm retiring.
I'm retired. You can't.
I'm not going to that poverty organization."
I can't believe. Like,
Honestly,
Well,
what a
it was
Gronk
the
thing to do.
Lions. It was the Lions.
Lions.
It wasn't.
Wasn't it the Lions? Oh,
It was the Lions.
Honestly, 2015, 16 Lions, same thing, dude.
Yeah,
but like,
but
okay,
They're more like 2018, but whatever.
people give like kind of make fun of Gronk for his like energetic personality and everything, but like you really look at it, he's not like he's kind of a smart dude in terms of like how he manages certain things. Like I think I read an article where like at one point he spent he hasn't spent a dime of his NFL contract and relied sorely off of income from his endorsement deals, which dude, that like nobody, well, not nobody, but very few NFL players would ever think about doing that. Like that dude has money and will never have to worry about not having money, especially now that he has a bowl game, I guess. I didn't even know that was a thing. I think this might even be like the third year that they've been doing it.
This was the last year of the LA Bowl hosted by Gronk.
Oh, okay.
Kelsey's still better. All right, let's move into power rankings.
21 says otherwise.
Okay. Yeah, this is a bit more of this is less about how I feel about them week 18, more how I feel about them like who do I think has a better chance of winning the Super Bowl. So that's why Jacksonville goes down, and then I have the Rams and Broncos going up a bit, just because I have a little bit more faith in their overall rosters. I still have the same questions I have had about them the entire year, especially with the Broncos. Like, if the offense can't figure it out in playoff time, you're kind of just screwed as good as the defense is. But I guess we'll see. The Patriots at 1, Seattle at 2. I've been saying the same things about them all season. I think they are very complete teams all around. The Patriots in their youth could maybe come to bite them. Seattle and Sam Darnold's patented pumpkin mode could very easily come back to bite them. And then, yeah, number 3, same thing. Denver, Bo Nix syndrome, I guess, could strike at any moment. The Rams kind of just like to do this cute little thing where they beat the brakes off of good teams, and then, well, my follow-up to that was going to be very disrespectful to a team that we very much love on this. So I'm not going to finish that thought. But they like to lose to the Falcons just for fun, for some reason. As long as they have to play an NFC South team this week, so that seems to be kind of their kryptonite at the moment. We'll see how that goes, I suppose. And then Jacksonville, I have no idea how to feel about this team because it's like they were really good to start the year, and then they kind of just like fell on their face, and then they are just like back to being good or something. I don't really know what's going on there. They somehow got the 3 seed. I guess we'll see come playoff time. Maybe this is finally the season where it all kind of clicks. Liam Cohen has done a great job with that roster. And I love Travis Etienne for deciding to be good this year so I could get 3rd in my fantasy league.
Doesn't it feel like with the Jags, we're going to look back in like 5 to 10 years, and it's going to be like, the Jags won 13 games this year when it felt like they weren't even the best team in their own division the entire season. Because beginning of the year, the Colts were the first 9-10 weeks of the year. The Colts like owned that division, And then I would argue the last 8 weeks, Houston has went on an absolute tear and won 9 in a row and have put themselves in position to, obviously they didn't win the division, but they're the hottest team in the NFL. I just feel like we're going to look back and be like, I'll forget that Jacksonville ended up winning 13 games this year, which is pretty absurd. But Brock, here are your power rankings for this week.
Part of me does kind of wish that I would have went the route of who I feel the most confident in heading into the playoffs. I just kind of kept the same thing of like going with what I had last week and adjusting it as so. So really the only movement is my number 5 spot. Last week I had Seattle at 1, New England at 2, Denver at 3, Houston at 4, and the 49ers at number 5. The 49ers now move back to the unranked spot, and Jacksonville moves in to the number 5 spot. I mean, not really much to add on to what has already been said about the other teams mentioned in this list. I'm interested to see what Jacksonville looks like. By the way, like I can't get over that Jacksonville doesn't have their first round pick playing right now, and they're still considered to be a competitor in this playoffs. And so we'll see what the future of them looks like. I was going to save that for your power rankings, Dawson. I didn't know where you had them ranked. So I'm happy that you pulled it out now, which I'm excited when we do our episode where we give out our rankings our awards, because he's going to be really, I think he's a really good contender for Coach of the Year with what he's been able to do with Jacksonville.
I don't disagree. Here are my power rankings. I'll start 5 to 1. I have the Rams. I don't really have too much movement in my power rankings this week from last week. But I have the Rams at 5, Denver at 4, Jacksonville at 3. And then I kind of just flip-flop the Pats and the Seahawks. I don't know why. I don't really believe in the Seahawks, but I guess that they're beating like real teams, I guess, than like the Patriots are beating like the Jets. And it's just like I guess I have slightly more faith in Seattle because their overall team is better. It's just New England has the quarterback, and that could be the difference on why New England makes a deep run versus why Seattle may or may not make a deep run in the playoffs. But those are my power rankings for this week. Rams, Broncos, Jags, Patriots, and Seahawks in top 5. But yeah.
You ready to get into the coaching carousel or whatever it may be? Some of these we won't have to give like that much analysis into it because they were really expected, and I mean some of them were just kind of like, well, yeah, duh. I don't know which one actually is going to show up first legitimately because I just downloaded it off of our Canva page. So my assumption is Arizona's Jonathan Gannon's graphic is going to show up here first because I have it uploading currently. And if it doesn't just pop up, I'm going to actually go through and get Raheem Morris with the Falcons getting fired, the first graphic to show up. So let me get that here. So yeah, the first really big announcement in terms of the coaching carousel or the coaching turnover for this season is Raheem Morris, head coach of the Falcons, gets told, an hour or 2, 3 hours after their last game, after they won their last game, by the way. I think they finished the season 4 or 5, 4-game win streak, 1, 4 or 5. But wasn't enough for him. And apparently it wasn't enough for the GM either, because the GM also got fired shortly after for the Falcons. I mean, if you guys want a quick analysis on a lot of these moves, head over to our Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok page. Braden did a good, quick little recap of all these movements here. But what were your guys' thoughts on the move to fire Raheem Morris? I mean, he hasn't done anything unbelievable, but I don't think he was like terrible. But sometimes that doesn't matter depending on the roster that you were given if you don't perform.
That's the big thing is I think Atlanta's roster is really talented. This is a team that I thought had a really good chance to win the NFC South this year. In fact, I think I picked them to win the NFC South, and then they started. What did they start? 3-9,
Yeah, not a good
3-8.
start.
Were one of the first teams eliminated from the playoffs. And for a team that traded away your first round pick in the draft last year, like you just can't have that happen and expect to keep the same sort of staff that let that happen. It doesn't matter. Like, cool, they won the last 4 or 5 games, or 4 out of their last 5 to make it look like the year finished off better than it did. But just all around, it felt like the Falcons were like, I don't even know how to describe what I was watching whenever you would sit down and watch a Falcons game. It was like the only guy that they knew that they had on the roster was Bijan. And to be fair, he's really good. Probably a top 3 running back in the NFL right now, and I don't know if that's much of a discussion. But like when you have talent on the roster like Drake London, like Kyle Pitts, and I mean even guys like Darnell Mooney, Tyler Algier are decent. Like it felt like the only plays were a dump off to Bijan, a dive to Bijan, or maybe like an outside zone to Bijan. It was like at a certain point, like I go back to the Rams game a couple weeks ago where they got that big lead and then they almost choked it away because all they wanted to do was give Bijan the ball. And the Rams knew that. Good teams, when they know what you're going to do, are going to take advantage of that. And that happened to the Falcons more often than not. And that's why they lost a lot of the games to start, because they just were too predictable. So I absolutely understand why they got rid of Raheem Morris. I understand why they got rid of Terry Fontenot. Although he was able to build really decent rosters, I think the kill shot for him was trading away your 2026 first round pick.
Yeah.
For James Pierce, who has been not great this year. Is it James Pierce or is it Jalen Walker that have been like really good this year? I know one of their edge rushers has been
stopped. Pierce has been really good. Pierce has 10.5 sacks.
Okay. Yeah, Pierce has been really good, but
Jalen Walker's he has 5.5 sacks in the year.
Yeah, but still, you traded away your first round pick in 2026 that if you hadn't have went on this miracle run would have just given the Rams, who have a really good chance to win the Super Bowl, like a top 5 pick in the draft. That type of stuff. And it felt like pulling teeth trying to get him to finally draft edge rushers. Granted, he finally did it this year. And then he fumbled the process of doing that even. So just all around, it looked like they were doing good, and then it just fell flat. And I think they also fired their CEO this morning.
Yep.
So just an all-around clearing house, just trying to make do with what you have to turn a good roster into a playoff contender.
For me, it feels like this decision was made in like week 4. Like, I don't know if you guys get the same feeling, but honestly, the way they closed out the season would have given me hope if I'm a Falcons fan. Like, they actually played well. Their offense was clicking. And granted, there's no Michael Penix. Penix has been out for, I think, a few weeks now. But, like, this team had legit, like, bright spots and, like, stuff to look forward to. James Pierce, obviously, with 10.5 sacks in the year. Obviously, we know how good Bijan, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts, other than the Rams game, like, his last, like, 6 weeks was unbelievable. That Tampa Bay game in week 15 will go down as one of the greatest tight end games of all time. Like, people need to recognize that. And to be fair, I mean, all jokes aside, I mean, them winning all these games at the end actually was hurting the Rams. So their pick ended up, like Braden said, I think was top 5 before their win streak, or around top 10-ish. And they ended up making that draft pick slightly worse for the Rams. So I get why the GM got fired. But I don't know if I'm 100% sold on Morris getting fired. I don't know. Some of the coaching decisions were questionable, like giving Bijan the ball literally every single play in the second half of that Rams game when they were trying to close that one out. But this team has good players on it, like I mentioned. And who knows if Penix is really going to be the answer for him. But the GM absolutely needed to go. You can't... If you're Raheem Morris, how frustrated are you after you just signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million deal, and then
I can't
also
believe
take
that happened.
and then also take Michael Penix in round 1 at pick, was it 9?
Yeah, like 8 or 9.
Like, you either are like all in, we're going to go with the veteran because we're going to try to win games, or it's like, okay, we're going to reset. We have a bunch of young players in Bijan and Drake London, and we're going to go with Penix, and we're going to give some time. But it kind of just felt like they were trying to like do both, and it just backfired entirely. But no, while I don't think Raheem Morris was the greatest coach in the world, I do think there were some legitimate bright spots for this team, and I think this has to be one of the more appealing destinations if you're a potential NFL head coaching prospect.
Definitely more appealing than some of the other ones that we're going to mention here. I mean, another one that we can hit on as I am going through this one can probably be quick. After 1 year with the Raiders, it looks like the Raiders are going to be looking for their 6th head coach since 2015 as Pete Carroll gets fired after a 3-win season for Las Vegas. I mean, did anyone really think this was going to work out? Okay, good.
I mean, like, maybe, like, if the cards all perfectly folded into plan, I didn't think Geno was, like, terrible in Seattle. Genty was a really, really good prospect in college, but, like, the line was awful. Brock Bowers was still really good because that's just what generational players do.
Yep.
Defense was, I think they tried maybe a little bit. Just, it simply put, Pete Carroll never fit the timeline for this team, and neither did like most of the team for that matter. But yeah, this is not a shock at all, really.
I was more shocked when they even made this move in the first place. I'm not sure why Pete Carroll was still considered a potential target, which I think they weren't. If I remember right, he was one of the last hires in the NFL carousel last year, or am I mistaken? I honestly can't remember. So maybe it was a move out of desperation, or maybe nobody wants to go coach there. Because again, like I said, there's been five full-time, not including interim head coaches, since 2015, and they're looking for number 6 now.
I think Pete Carroll just thought that this team was still in Oakland. He was like, yeah, no, I have some old USC buddies that I could go reconnect with. Like, wait, what do you mean I got to go play in Las Vegas? Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah.
All right, well, I already signed the contract, so then whatever.
By the way, Geno found a way to get him fired twice.
Yep.
Did Carroll get fired the first time, or did he step down?
It was probably. Let me. Honestly,
I'm not 100%.
It's a lot funnier if you say Geno got him fired.
Yeah,
twice,
it basically
so
got him fired.
One of those like, hey,
he was going to get fired.
We respect what you've done for the organization, but like, you can either leave on your own, or we're going to throw you out of the building.
He stepped down and moved into an advisory position.
Okay.
Oh,
so he got asked to leave.
Yeah, he got asked. Yeah, I remember this because it was like, I swear at one point it was like, well, maybe he didn't actually get moved down, and maybe he'll still be that. I remember this whole like weird like situation with him. Yeah, he was fired without being fired. So Geno got him fired twice.
Yeah,
and I will stand on that hill.
I have some thoughts about the Pete Carroll move, but then I have another stat that I'll get into in a second. But
are you going to talk about their
numbers
2015 head coach?
No. It'll be funny. When we get to it, it'll be funny. But no, this is the same concept to me as like Belichick coming out of retirement to coach like North Carolina. It's just like, why? Like your legacy was already cemented. Like you already were a first ballot Hall of Fame coach. Like we know you're successful. We know you're a really good coach. Why take any chance to like ruin that? Like this just feels gross. Like seeing this picture with him with a Raiders sweatshirt on just looks super, super gross.
This is like seeing Jerry Rice in a Raiders jersey.
Or like honestly. A Seahawks or like a Broncos, like just super, super ugly. But
honestly, no. the ceiling of this move was the ceiling of this move was like Phillip Rivers going back to the Colts this season. Was like the best case scenario. Was he still looks good, but they're still going to lose games because come on.
All right, and then here's my little neat stat of the day. All right, it's player A and player B. All right, player A played in 17 games, 975 rushing yards, 5 rushing touchdowns, and had 5 receiving touchdowns as well. A decent season. You could interpret who that player is. Player B played 15 games, 950 rushing yards, 11 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown. Both pretty much had the same receiving yards. Like both stats are like pretty comparable. Both one player rushed for 3.7 yards a carry, one player rushed for 3.6. So pretty comparable. Who is player A and who is player B? I will give you a hint. One of the players is on this Raiders team.
Last time I played this game, I sniped the fun immediately. So Brock, I'm gonna let you take first crack at it.
If you would like me to repeat the stats, I can too.
Repeat, real quick.
Okay, so player A played in 17 games, had 975 rushing yards, 5 rushing touchdowns, and also had 5 receiving touchdowns. Player B played in 15 games, 950 rushing yards, 11 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown. Both players had the same receiving yards within like 20 or so, and roughly the same yards per carry. Who is player A and who is player B?
I'd almost want to guess that Genty is the first player.
Genty is the first player. Braden, now you can guess the second player because I don't know if you can get the second player.
Is second player? Is it somebody this year or is it like a historical player?
It's a historical player.
Is it rookie Trent Richardson?
It is rookie Trent Richardson. I'm not saying Genty is going to be Trent Richardson, but we've seen this movie before.
There's a reason why I stepped back. I'm just for some reason this is just like my niche, dude. I just get these.
I mean, the Raiders have the first pick. We all remember the last time they had the first pick.
I'm not saying that Genty's going to be a bust, but we've seen this movie with the generational running back prospect. I don't know. It's just something to think about. But I digress. That's all I have to say on that.
I just want to point out, not including John Gruden, since 2015, who has coached the most games for the Raiders?
Jack Del Rio.
That was my guess as well.
Yeah.
And it's by 22 games. The closest he coached 48 games for the Raiders.
3 seasons.
Second, Antonio Pierce with 26, which some
of
those were interim head coaching jobs or games.
Yep.
The closest who was just a full-time head coach was Josh McDaniels, who coached 25.
Oh,
what an era, dude. What an era.
I will say, with some of the raw talent that they do have, maybe this is more of a interesting team to look at if you're a coaching candidate, because, I mean, you have a generational talent at tight end. Who knows what you have really at running back right now, and you're looking for a new quarterback. So you kind of get the opportunity to build an offense tailored to whatever you want really this offseason, especially if you have the first overall pick. Not that they're going for a quarterback with that. Maybe they end up moving that pick for a quarterback. I don't know. They got a lot to do, a lot to work on, obviously, before they can get anywhere. It doesn't seem like Crosby wants to be there much longer if all they're going to do is be competing for first overall picks. We all saw the controversy with him being shut down and for the year, and he wasn't too happy about that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with them. I will say they're probably a more desirable place because I would consider them a bigger market than some of these other teams, just because I feel like the NFL is trying to push Vegas like more than anything. So it's more of a forced big market versus other teams, but we'll see what they end up doing there. This one I actually hinted at towards the end of our episode last week with the Cleveland Browns. There was a tweet that I saw while we were recording hinting at this move. But Kevin Stefanski's time in Cleveland is officially over. The longest tenured coach at one place that was fired in this recent coaching movement, carousel, Black Monday, whatever you want to call it. I think he spent 7 seasons, 2-time coach of the year. Both of those times made the playoffs for the Browns. This is weird because we do have to give him a lot of credit for what he was able to do with the Browns. That like I don't think that will ever really be hit on as much as it probably should, because the Browns were in the situation Detroit was in at one point. They were in the same situation as the Jets are basically in right now. The only difference between the Lions situation and the Browns is like the Lions had like Matthew Stafford for most of that time. The Browns historically infamous, man, I cannot speak tonight. Infamously have the QB jersey where the guy has all the names of all the quarterbacks that have started since insert whatever year it was. 99. You got random names. Brandon Weeden, I think, is on there.
Shout out Tim Couch.
Seneca Wallace made an appearance for the Browns at one point.
Shout out to Sean Kaiser. 0-16, man. He got to start every game that 0-16 year. Yeah, shout out that guy.
But he had potential if he could have just like sat and learned. Instead, they threw him to the wolves.
As a rookie, dude, he was
never recovered.
But Kevin Stefanski takes over a franchise where like winning 2 games is like, holy crap. Like I remember, didn't someone have like a Bud Light or Busch Light or some like cooler that was like locked away waiting for I don't remember what it was for, because was it?
It was like I think it was when they went 1-15. Like some point in the 1-15 year, they like locked up a Bud Light cooler. It was like free beer when the Browns win a game, and then they proceeded to like lose out that season. Hugh Jackson went to say we're not going 1-15 again. Lost the entire rest of the next season. Lost like tied and lost after that, and then finally won the game. Like week 3 or 4, 2017 year, 2018.
2018 is Baker against the Jets.
Jeez.
Because of course it's the Jets also.
But like it is crazy what he was able to do really with the Browns, just knowing what we kind of grew up with of what the expectations were for Cleveland. I mean, they did try to build rosters that were competing for Super Bowls. And I mean, I know it was an injury involved in this game too, but they were a couple plays away from beating the Chiefs in the playoffs as well. Yeah. Like honestly, whether or not they would have actually done anything if they did win that game, who knows?
Shout out Chad Henne.
Yeah, literally.
Chad Henne in that
but
one.
Like it ended poorly, obviously, because they peaked and they dipped hard quickly. But what he was able to do for Cleveland, I like. There's no way I would consider this a complete failure. Well, obviously it ended poorly, but like compared to where they were in the decades before, like he did have a good run. And I've already seen things. He will be a head coach somewhere next year.
Yeah, I mean, I hinted to this firing after and I mentioned this as well in my recap, but I kind of hinted like, hey, we're going to look back at this moment when Kevin Stefanski gets fired. It's like, yeah, no, this is definitely when it was like, all right, we're done here.
Yep.
It was the game, I don't remember who it was. I think it was like week 14 when Shador led them all the way back from like down 24, tie game. And instead of, or like they were down 1, and instead of going for the PAT, they went for the 2-point conversion, or maybe they were down 2, needed that 2-point conversion, and they took the ball out of Shador's hands on like a Quinshon Judkins wildcat pitch play where Judkins didn't even hand the ball off. He like chucked it across the field. That was the play. I was like, all right, this is when Kevin Stefanski was fired. Whether it happens this year or if they give him one more year, it's going to happen. I think maybe I said in the moment it would happen next year, but Yeah, I think that was the moment we can point to, be like, yeah, no, that's why he got fired, 100%. Just all around, he was good. Obviously, he had his ups and downs, but there were just those little moments where it was like, all right, especially with it felt like Shador, like, I hate saying this because I feel like it, every time I see somebody say this, it feels like they're just begging for attention. But it did feel like at times he was trying to set Shador up for failure. And in front office, that seems like they're trying to push to at least get something going to get the fans happy about it. That just wasn't going to work.
This is an interesting one. This firing feels very similar for me as when Vrabel got fired from Tennessee, and then Vrabel immediately after was like when I think he went to the Browns as like a consultant for like just half a season, just so that way he was still at the NFL circle, and then that immediate next cycle, he was the New England Patriots head coach. Like it kind of feels like Stefanski's going to sit out a year, kind of wait and see the market. Because there's plenty of coaches that didn't get fired this time around that next year, that seat's going to be hot. Mike McDaniel, not Mike McDonald. Mike McDaniel with the Dolphins is
That'd be a hell of a turnaround if he's on the hot seat next year.
How many games would the Seahawks have to lose next year?
17.
Would they have to go over?
They would have to do what the Cardinals did this year.
But there's a lot of jobs that maybe aren't available now that could be available in a year from now. That could certainly be. Heck, I'm not trying to put this out there, but are we sure Kevin O'Connell has the safest job in Minnesota? We mentioned Harbaugh already with the Ravens.
This year, yes. Next year, no.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we get to next year around this time, it's like, man, I don't know.
Next year's a put up or shut up year for the Vikings. I truly do believe.
But all this to say, I kind of feel bad for Stefanski because I read an article. Granted, I don't know how true the article actually was, but the article was stating that Stefanski did not want Deshaun in that trade to happen with the Browns, and that he was content with the Browns. It was just the ownership that really wanted a change. They wanted to move on from Baker, which, wow. I mean, granted, I know the Bucs missed the playoffs this year, but like Baker led the Bucs to 2 straight playoff appearances, almost a third one this year. But he feels like a name that won't be sitting around on his couch for too long. Put it that way. Those are my final thoughts.
A-Town.
You think Atlanta?
I think that would be a good fit. That feels like a team that has it figured out. Somewhat, I think
he's not looking for a team to rebuild because he already did that. He's looking for a team where you can almost plug and play, kind of thing. You're going to have to look at and truly look at the Falcons roster. You're going to have to look at the quarterback position definitely and be like, okay, what do we have here? Because I could see a world where they move on for both Penix and Cousins. Obviously, it sounds like Cousins is not going to be with the Falcons, or it at one point seemed like he's not going to be with the Falcons next year. We'll see what happens with that. But maybe they can find something where they could pick up a guy this offseason, whether it's through the draft or free agency, that they could potentially plug back in. And who knows?
I got kind of a off-the-wall one for Stefanski as well.
For where he would go?
Yeah.
Okay.
This team's got their quarterback, it seems, figured out. They have a wide receiver 1. They have decent running backs. What about the Giants giving him a call? I don't know if the Giants are like sold on Mike Kafka.
I think they already have like scheduled interviews with him. I think that's one of the teams I've seen that already has interest in Stefanski, and I like that. I like that fit a lot as well.
Because we know Dart can play. We know Scatterbo, when he eventually comes back next year, is a stud. Malik Neighbors is an absolute stud as well. Like he is unbelievable.
Go ahead.
No, that entire offense is built for success if they can get the right person.
If I'm Stefanski and I'm thinking about going to New York, I'm saying I will change the turf to natural grass, and I will sign instantly.
If they had full ownership of the field, I could see that happening. But
I
they
was gonna
share
say,
it with
you got-
the Jets.
They won't.
Yeah.
It's truly, like, from a logistics standpoint, out of all the stadiums, is truly, I don't know, it makes any sense to do that, because they would have to repaint it every week, and natural grass would die.
Yeah.
Especially in New York with how cold it gets so quickly. So, it's just a little joke I made, because everybody gets hurt there, it seems like.
All right, Brock, now's your time to shine.
So this next guy won't be a head coach next year compared to Kevin Stefanski. However, I did mention it in the tweet or in the post. I truly do believe that this guy will be a top defensive coordinator candidate for a lot of jobs this offseason, because it seems like a lot of defensive coordinators are actually being looked at as potential head coaching candidates. Of course, I'm referring to Jonathan Gannon did get fired. I'm trying not to smile because it makes me seem like an a-hole. But
yeah, I mean,
this one's been in the drafts for 6 weeks.
You've been preying on his downfall for so long.
I'm sorry.
Smile a little bit.
I also forgot how bad his introductory meeting with the team was. Like, that video has been surfacing or like making its rounds around social media again. It was so bad. Players sound like they truly did enjoy him as a coach, or some of them did from some of the messages I've seen on social media, but it just didn't work. I mentioned it before we went on and started recording tonight, but the NFC West, all the teams that made the playoffs, so every team not named the Cardinals, had less combined losses than the Cardinals had by themselves this year. Also, Raheem Morris had more wins in 2 years than what Jonathan Gannon had in 3. It just wasn't working. Granted, a lot of things kept happening to this franchise over those 3 years, and that is injuries and concerns with the quarterback position. Just whether it was, well, is Kyler going to resign, to, oh, Kyler's hurt, to, well, when are we going to get Kyler back, to, oh, Kyler really isn't Kyler anymore, to, is he even worth playing him? Oh, he's hurt again. Jacoby Brissett, you're in. Go throw for 55 times. Yeah, out of all the coaches that I've watched as a Cardinals fan, this Jonathan Gannon, unfortunately, was my least favorite. And again, don't get me wrong. He will be a defensive coordinator somewhere in the NFL this offseason. Like, he will get picked up for sure. But it just didn't work. And it needed to happen. I had some people I was talking to yesterday. They're like, well, can't you just wait a year? Sometimes you can't just wait, because this roster has an interesting issue in terms of someone they drafted a year or two ago who was pound for pound probably the guy to get in the draft, has been injured 24/7, and I mean hasn't really shown up at all. Of course, I'm referring to Marvin Harrison Jr. And then you got a tight end who no one knew that he was even remotely close to the NFL record for most receptions in the season. Like in Trey McBride. You got a defense that seems like it's got some good pieces. They need a couple more. So it's one of those where you can't just rely on a guy that you know you're going to fire in a year, when you could potentially bring someone in, maybe put together a roster that probably will suck next year still, but maybe show some bright spots of what a future could look like with this franchise. But I don't know. The worst part about this is that the ownership is still the ones pulling the strings on everything. And we will probably talk about it after the season ends, but the NFLPA always releases, overall franchise rankings for things that you wouldn't think about, but a lot of players probably do consider in terms of whether they resign, whether they want to be there in the first place, all those type of stuff. The Cardinals are usually one of the last two, if not the last team in all of the NFL and the average of those rankings. So hopefully the ownership takes note of that, maybe can make some changes. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen because I think he's a top candidate, and top candidates don't go to Arizona. But I want a defensive coordinator from Minnesota to come in to take over the reins for the Cardinals. I know that we talk about defensive coordinators are not necessarily the position that you want to take as a head coach in this current state of the NFL, but there are some OCs or former coaches that could be moved into the OC position that I think might be a great pairing with Brian Flores from Minnesota if the Cardinals took a shot at him.
Does Drew Petzing still have his job? Arizona's OC?
That is a good question. I haven't seen anything about him losing his job.
If the answer is not no, then what's the point?
Yeah.
The defense was, not great, but wasn't terrible. The main point was, it felt like the offensive play calling was just abhorrent the entire year. There just cannot be a world where Drew Petzing keeps his job.
I don't know. See, it's been a while. It's been 3 years since I remember having to actually pay attention to a head coach being fired and a new head coach coming in. I don't know the difference between college football and the NFL in terms of, do they usually bring in or maybe make a decision to fire an OC after they get hired or what? But I completely agree. The offensive coordinator needs to go. Just been terrible. Point blank, full stop. That's it. So yeah, I agree. It looks like I haven't seen anything that says that he has lost his job, but he's probably next.
Brock, you kind of nailed everything here with your thoughts on this move, but yeah, the Cardinals have intriguing players on their roster that would be kind of appealing for the next candidate. Obviously Marvin Harrison is a stud, or could be a stud, I should say. Michael Wilson is a stud. We do know that. The running back position right now with Connor being out is kind of questionable. I know they had Michael Carter bouncing in every now and then, and then Mari DeMarcado is that?
Yeah, DeMarcado. Yep. Sorry,
Trey McBride is absolute animal. They took was 2 years ago. They took Paris Johnson at 6th overall, the tackle out of Ohio State. Just feels like if they can find an eventual, because I think they're going to move on from Kyler this offseason. That's just my personal opinion.
I feel like they're going Fernando this offseason. I have a weird feeling that I'm going to be cheering for Fernando Mendoza this next year.
Yeah, I feel like if they could find their next play caller and then find some sort of an answer at quarterback, because I don't think you could trot out Kyler Murray as your starter week 1 next year. And obviously it can't be Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby could be your backup. We know that Jacoby likes to throw the ball around, and that could be a lot of fun. But if you want to actually win meaningful games, you can't have Jacoby back out there. But there's a blueprint for the Raiders' success here, or for the Cardinals' success. Sorry, I don't know why I'm still thinking Raiders. But there's a blueprint. They have good players on defense too. Walter Nolan, who they took in the first round last year, should be a good D tackle. I know he was hurt the majority of the year, but looked really good in college. Obviously, Budda Baker's still there. Granted, he's getting up there. He's getting up there in age where who knows if he's wanting to continue to hang around a rebuilding team. But I by no means think this is the least desirable head coaching available position, I should say.
You're way more optimistic than I am, man.
I just think the way the Raiders are set up right now, even with them having the first pick, dude, I just don't like that roster at all. At least the Cardinals, it's like Michael Wilson's really good. Trey McBride's a stud. Marv, if you could find out what it takes to get him back to his Ohio State days. And then, you have some pieces. The Raiders, it just feels like you have Bowers and not a soul. That's kind of how I feel about them.
Crosby, potentially.
But is Crosby going to be there long term?
That's a good point. So that's funny that you should mention that, the Raiders, because I saw a rumor, and it actually was kind of something similar that I've been interested in. of whether or not you could pair up a former head coach and put him at the OC and bring in a minded defensive coordinator in as a head coach. I've always been kind of a fan of Brian Flores for the Vikings. Sorry. There's a rumor that the Raiders are already targeting him along with Brian Daboll as their OC. And I wasn't thinking Daboll for sure for the OC position for who I would love to come in with Flores. But if I'm the Cardinals, I'm trying to go all in on that idea.
Funny enough, wasn't it Daboll who got the Bills job? Like when the whole thing with Flores went down in Miami where he got like fired or wherever, wasn't it Brian Daboll who was the coach that Bill Belichick texted Brian Flores? It was like, hey, congrats on getting that Buffalo job. He's like, yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I'm interviewing it for it now. It's like,
I think it
was.
was.
Trying to talk about, were you trying to talk about Brian Daboll when this like hadn't been announced yet?
Yep.
But he hadn't even like Flores had the interview scheduled just so
That'd
that way
be a
the
funny pairing
Bills
for
could
sure.
get the draft pick or whatever.
Full circle moment.
Yeah, if Brian Daboll ends up the offensive coordinator for a Brian Flores led team, that would be very funny.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. That's who I want to be the head coach for the Cardinals. I don't know if there's anyone else that I really would pick if I had a choice, but we'll see what they end up doing.
Yeah.
Any, I guess in terms of like the coaching candidates, are there any people that you guys are like watch out for, or they're definitely going to be getting a head coaching job here in this next turnover?
Clint Kubiak for sure. The Seahawks offensive coordinator is, I think, like the easy, obvious one. Otherwise, I don't really know off the top of my head, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Lou Anarumo, I think, the Colts defensive coordinator, has been tied to a couple jobs as well. I think even like the Titans GM like was with the Chiefs for a while, so I think was like going to schedule interviews with both of the Chiefs coordinators, which I think is an awful idea.
Yeah, I was going to take him. Matt Nagy. You want to be a Tennessee Titans head coach?
Yeah, Matt Nagy, known not good at being a head coach. Steve Spagnuolo has been a generational
also known not being a good head coach.
Horrible head coach. Ask what happened when he was the head coach of the Giants, man.
Let's be honest. If a coordinator is not young, there's a good chance that they were terrible head coaches at one point.
Yep.
And I actually was going to ask you guys about. I don't know if the Cardinals would even look at him, or anyone really, but the Cardinals did have him as a defensive coordinator during the Cliff Kingsbury era. But Vance Joseph, he does have head coaching background with the Broncos, and it didn't end well. But he's a defensive coordinator for the Broncos. Yeah, that's the problem. Is like there's a lot of guys right now that are in the coordinator positions that have head coaching experience that people keep hinting at as potential candidates. But like, there's a reason that they're coordinators right now.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem with this whole NFL coaching carousel is that there are about 6 head coaches at any time, and it doesn't matter how bad they are, they will always get to keep their job.
Yeah. I'm not saying this guy deserves a head coaching job because of XYZ. I'm just saying it because this is just something I know from people that aren't defensive or offensive coordinators right now. But if you're wanting to take, like, if you're realizing that your team is like 4 to 5 years away and you're really just wanting to say, screw it, let's try a slow and methodical rebuild. Again, not the normal way that the NFL or any professional sports team looks at. But there's a list of coaches or like even like personnel on staff that like you talk to people that know the ins and outs of the coaching world, and you're like, oh, this guy's going to be a head coach at some point. The comparison I'm making to this is actually a former Iowa State coach. Nate Scheelhaase has been kind of like rumored to be a head coach at some point, whether it's in the pros or the collegiate level. If you're a team that you know, like honestly, the Raiders, if you're a team that you know that you are 4 to 6 years away from being able to even say anything about your team being competitive, and you know that this guy has been already praised really well at a high level. I mean, he's on the Rams staff right now, if I remember correctly. Do you take a stab at someone like him, not necessarily like specifically Nate Scheelhaase, because he's still very young and very raw in terms of his talents, and like most people that know Nate, it sounds like he will be a head coach at some point. But like, do you see a team that potentially does that, where they go over the coordinators and try to get someone that may not be like the guys that ESPN will be talking about for the next week and a half?
I mean, I could see maybe a team that has like no idea when they're going to be good again, maybe taking a shot on a guy like that. My thing is, if you are like Nate Scheelhaase or one of these guys that's like, you have a future as a head coach, but maybe not right now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I would rather just wait and take a coordinator spot, prove yourself in those ranks first before you go jump straight into the pool of a head coach job.
That's
end up going somewhere you have no business being and then floundering and you never get that shot again.
Yep.
I would rather build up my resume as like in the lower ranks a bit more first and then take that leap than just straight go for it. And then if I fail, it's over.
Yeah. That's actually a really, really good point. And because if a team does that, there will be backfire already if it's not a name that people know. Like if Nate Scheelhaase would to get hired, people that don't know him are going to say this was a terrible idea. Why would a team jump the gun and try to get a guy like this when he hasn't been able to prove anything at a coordinator level?
And he was an offensive coordinator at Iowa State, but like,
yes,
that's nowhere near head coach of an NFL position. Let's be real here.
And arguably, if I remember correctly, because he wasn't the 10-win season. That was Mauser, right?
Yeah, that was Mauser.
So even then, like the better offense was like the year after he left when you really look at it. But this is not, I guess, again, I'm not specifically talking about Scheelhaase. This is just the one specific one I can talk about just because of like, you know, I know of him, know who he is, have been able to see him coach at the offensive coordinator level at a college level. I don't think a team probably will take that shot, but if there is a team, Raiders, that you are 5 to 6 years away, if you can find someone that you're like, you know what, I think this guy actually will be something, and you know that you're going to be able to ease him into it versus just being like, hey, good luck, which again, that's still hard to be able to convince someone to do that. Because if you're going from a small coaching, like a positional position to a head coaching job, that is going into the deep end immediately. But I don't know. I just feel like doing the same old of will Spags finally get another chance? I think Arthur Smith is getting thrown around for some reason as a name. Does he really truly?
When does Robert Saleh get his team? Big Bob Saleh.
Like, why are those guys getting another chance? And I guess I don't know. This carousel is going to be interesting because there's a lot of people being mentioned who were head coaches, who were terrible head coaches. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I hope Brian Flores is the head coach for the Cardinals. Sounds like it probably won't be. I don't even know who they've even been in contact with or who their short list is right now. But at the end of the day, it's a mixture of franchise culture. Whether people want to admit it or not, culture does matter in the professional ranks. And when you're ranked 32 out of 32 NFL teams in terms of overall franchise, how your franchise is being ran, it's not good. But okay, to end this, because we're already at an hour and 50. Honestly, we'll see if we just post our playoff predictions or if we do get another episode, because it is getting kind of late tonight. But if you were a head coach, and this is how we'll end things. If you were a head coach out of those 4 teams, or I guess you could even add the Titans and the Giants, because they also fired their coaches earlier in the season. Where would you want to go and why?
Probably it depends on how confident I feel I can go find a quarterback. If I have a confidence I can go get, like, make something happen with like an Anthony Richardson or go get somebody in the draft, I'm going Atlanta. Or even if you think Michael Penix could possibly recover and be the answer, I think that roster overall is superior to any of the other options. If I am a lot more hesitant as to whether or not I can go get a quarterback that I can handpick and be my future, then I go the Giants. Because I think Jackson Dart has the most promise out of anybody that is on a roster that needs a head coach right now. Or the Titans is also an option. Cam Ward is still really good, but the rest of the team is just nothing. I would rather have Jackson Dart and the rest of the Giants offense, or just the team, versus versus Cam Ward and the rest of the Titans.
I think I would rather have the Giants as well, just because having that quarterback is so nice. I mean, we all think Dart can play. I mean, Dart is in the running for the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Granted, will he win it? Who knows? That whole award is just, I don't really care for that award. But if I were to rank it, I think Giants would be top. But Atlanta's not a bad job either, like Braden said. I mean, yeah, you don't have your first round pick this year. And yeah, you don't know if Penix is your guy. But man, having Bijan, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and then like a couple studs on the defensive side makes it so much easier to start off versus, like, I don't know, like whoever takes over the Browns. No offense, you have Myles Garrett, which is cool, just broke the sack record. Outside of Garrett, is there anyone that you can really write home about? It's like, hey, we know this guy's gonna be a stud. Maybe Denzel Ward, but even then, it's like he has his moments where he's not a fantastic corner. But no, I would definitely say the Giants for sure.
I definitely get the Giants thing. I actually do like the Falcons. Me personally, just because maybe you can find someone in the offseason to get you to that next level. Maybe you can find the next Sam Darnold that hasn't been getting an opportunity that can take you to the next level, enough to get you to the next level. Because again, I do think Pitts, London, Bijan, all those guys are really good. And I don't know if you need like a once in a generation quarterback to be able to turn this team around. Granted, it seems like they've been able to struggle more for some reason with all this talent. But again, the quarterback position has been an issue for them. But like, I think just an average guy would be fine for them. And I feel like the difference between, again, the Cowboys have been struggling a lot more recently than other seasons, but I'd rather go to the division that the Falcons are in, just because you don't ever know what that division is going to look like year to year, talent wise. And if you can establish something, you can almost establish yourself as a contender to win that division every year, versus where the Giants are. You're kind of competing with the Eagles right now. We'll see what the Eagles look like 2-3 years from now. But who knows if the Commanders will have a bounce back year the following year, or if the Cowboys will be able to do something in the offseason that actually benefits them versus trading another defensive player to the Packers. But that would be the reason why I would pick the Falcons is like, again, you got a lot of tools already. I think you just need that one little piece, and then you're right back in the race for your own division. Yeah. All right. Any last comments that you guys have before we sign off here? I know it was a very long episode, but a lot of things really to cover as we're getting ready for postseason football, and we didn't even talk about the games going in to Wild Card Weekend.
My legs hurt. I need to get up and stretch.
I'm the same way.
But no. Playoffs are going on, but man, I can't wait for the offseason. Maybe it's because I've already been checked out for like 3 weeks, but offseason's gonna be fun.
First
mock
time
draft
missing the
season
playoffs
is around the corner, folks.
Mock draft season has been in swing for 4 weeks now. All right.
I'm talking more about between the hashes mock draft season. We're getting close.
True.
You guys are the mock draft experts, man.
I'm not an expert. I just put names on a piece of paper and say, here you go.
You guys are better at it than I am for sure, though. I will say that because I'm too worried about saying antibiotic steroids versus the latter. So we will sign off for the week unless you guys have any last statements. We'll do an award show later. I think we said we plan on doing that during the Pro Bowl, which is I think the week anyways that they usually announce that. Mm-hmm. We'll figure out the official format of that as we get closer. Also, by the way, to recap everything, we covered some head coaching vacancies after Black Monday hit on some key games that established the NFL playoffs this year, as well as making a deal with Dawson where if the Carolina Panthers make the Super Bowl, we will be getting him a Carolina Panthers Super Bowl jersey. Official jersey, not
no DH gate.
Yeah, no DH gate. But for Dawson and Braden, I'm Brock. We're going to sign off here. We might have another episode. If not, we will do something else to kind of preview or predict the playoffs here on the 515 Podcast Network. So we will sign off for this episode, and we'll see you next week.